Hi again then folks, and welcome to of course the second build of day 2 of Special Projects pack number 6. This time definitely a nostalgic car for me, a DLC car from back in the Forza 4 days. So some Gran Turismo players might be less familiar with it, but it's a replica of the 2011 Ferrari 458 Challenge. Not the first time that I've featured a Challenge spec Ferrari in Special Projects. Of course I did an F430 Challenge, which is probably one of my favourite builds. It's quite a simple one, but I find that these Challenge Ferraris are they're really fun. They're simple, they're clean, they're very easy to build, and they're just really fun to drive. This one definitely, the 458, is such a good car to work with already. This, of course, is a player-created livery, so I'll drop a link to that one down in the description. You can add it to your library. And actually, as far as the build goes, much like the Ferrari F430 Challenge, it's really easy to do. Now, I went to Ferrari's own website to get the specs on the car, which is always helpful. They do not tune the engine, so you don't need to do anything to the engine at all, which is really good to know. I was so tempted to fit like a race silencer just for the looks and the sound, but I thought, no, let's just make it more accurate, so I've left it as it is. The weight, of course, is the biggest difference along with the tyres, so you want your Stage 1 weight. As far as the Club Sports section, we've got the power restrictor, which you don't really need, but I've got it for if you ever have to for a race or whatever. Stage 2 weight, of course, as well. Ballast is fitted for when, again, you need it. We've got the customised LSD, or limited slip diff. I have opted to increase the rigidity on this one. It does help the point level a little bit, and also gives it that more track day feel, of course. Stage 3 weight reduction as well. As far as the racing parts, you want your racing pads, the fully customised suspension, the race clutch and flywheel, the fully customised gearbox as well, and I've gone for racing hard tyres. Some people I know will think that's a bit of overkill. If you do want to go for example, sports tyres and, use it for whatever event, absolutely go for it. You could, of course. And then for extreme stuff, you'll have noticed that I didn't fit the racing discs, and that's because for this one, it seemed more appropriate to me to fit the carbon ceramics. They look the part, it's the part for that kind of car, and of course for the ultimate stuff, there is nothing fitted there. So like I said, it's a really, really simple build, and even the livery isn't that much different to a normal 458. It's basically a 458 with pretty much a stripe and a race number. That's kind of the whole Challenge thing though. And I love the One Make Racing Series kind of vibe that they have. Incidentally, at 713 points, it could be quite a useful car for the 700 point level if you wanted to, for example, add a little bit of weight or reduce the power a bit. Obviously, it wouldn't be as realistic then to the actual car, but, depends what you want to do. So we've got tyres fitted. For the suspension, this one will probably irk some people, because I know there are plenty of folks who hate having the lowest ride height because it can mess around with your riding or driving style and make the car bounce around too much. The reason why I've done that is actually because of Ferrari themselves. According to them and according to their own website, it is 30mm lower than the stock car. Well, as it happens, 30mm is exactly 85 and 97, which is the lowest you can go. So if you have an issue with it, I guess talk to Ferrari. As far as the anti-roll, though, we've got 4 for that one, 30 on the compression, 40 on the expansion, 3.15 for the frequency, 3 degrees of camber. I've opted for towing in 20 on the back, towing out 10 on the front, 10, 20 and 20 for the diff, and this is a very, very good car to drive, so you don't really need to worry about the diff. The gear ratios on the real Challenge car are closer and a bit shorter than the normal road car, so we've made that, as you can see from comparing those, that is accurate to real life, just a little bit closer with a 310 km/h auto setting. The power restrictor and ECU, of course, are untouched in terms of limiting it, because, again, stock engine. You do need to add 62 kilos of ballast, though, to bring us up to Ferrari's quoted weight of 1,220, and then I've opted to just add the little bit of extra twist of putting that all the way to the front, just to get us to a nice 47-53 split. And then, as far as this, of course, you can already see what we've fitted. So it really is a super, super simple build to do. Now, of course, we will jump out to Monza, because, of course, to show you what it's like in practice. Now, just like the F430 Challenge, this car is just a pleasure to work with. It's super forgiving, it's extremely fun. I will say there's a little bit of tail slip that it can sometimes have, which isn't too surprising, but it's very easy to work with, certainly on the racing tyres. And of course, with a car like this, it helps that the base model is already so good. The 458 Italia is a truly superb road car to work with already, and in racing form with the lower weight, of course the stickier tyres, of course it's going to feel great. It's only natural, so it's a pleasure to work with. Definitely a highly useful car if you were to use it for events or career mode, maybe with a little bit of power or weight adjustment. And I will say that one of the differences between this car and something like the F430, the F430 Challenge build feels more analog, more like old school Ferrari, whereas the 458, much like what it is, it actually feels more almost digital. And if you drive this build and see if you can understand what I'm talking about, it feels like a digital car. It feels very new age Ferrari, which is what it is. So I guess that's a good thing that it feels that way. So if you do decide to use the build, I hope you have a ton of fun with it. It's an extremely nice car to drive. And of course, check out the other builds from pack number 6. This week. And of course, show the player who created the livery some love. There are a couple of different challenge liveries that people have done. This was definitely the best one that I could find though, in terms of especially getting stuff like that number 5 correct on the right side of the car, where some players got a bit lazy with stuff like that. So give them some love from me, of course. Check out the build and check out the others this week as well. But until next time, I'll see you then. And for now, as always, thanks for watching.